Okay.
Okay,
How you doing?
okay. Meeting is back in session. Make sure your microphones are on, please. At this time, Chris Gomer, are you ready? Chris has graciously said he can do it in 38 seconds, so.
38 seconds, yeah.
Go.
That'll be good.
Can't even introduce himself in 38 seconds.
I can't talk without getting interrupted in 38 seconds, Bill Van Wy. So I'm here today, obviously, for the Development Services, which is Plan Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, my office staff, including building inspectors, so building permits, improvement location permits, and that sort of good stuff. I'll just touch on the highlights, as that's what I've been instructed to do. The highlights for 2025, in the budget for wages, I just did a total increase of 4%, which is what council requested. Our office administrator, the only kind of real difference you'll see is the office administrator was approved and moved from COMAT A to COMAT B earlier this year. So her wages are based off of the 4% increase in a COMAT B category versus the COMAT A, if that makes sense. And I'm understanding that there's some departments requesting a higher than 4%. And I just hope council would look at all departments and not just do 4% for some, 6% for the ones that requested it. I did based off of what council as a whole requested us to do.
And we will.
So just wanted to put that out there. Okay. A couple of changes too to the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Plan Commission member pay. That's not been increased at least since I've been here, and looking back at least 5 years previously, it appears that they've only been getting $70 per meeting and $80. And what I'm requesting is to up that $10 per meeting to $80 per meeting. Auburn is currently $50. I sent out an email this morning. I probably should have done that earlier to try to get what Steuben County, Wells County, Whitley County, and Noble County pay their members. Auburn is the only one that I know pays $50 a meeting. So I can get that information to you if you want to see plat committee, which only reviews and approves subdivision approval or subdivisions, so splitting of property so they can become buildable. We have those monthly, and just recently-ish, probably in the last year and a half or so, we've started having more and more plan commission meetings to try to get our to get our UDO updated. So doing kind of just piecemeal staff-initiated updates to our zoning ordinance. Because before I could transfer money from the BZA or the Plan Commission and swap that money to pay for member pay if I was low on one side and high on the other. That has worked in the past. I don't believe it's going to work this year and probably going forward if next thing on the request is the comprehensive plan rewrite. If that money can get approved through council this year, and hopefully in 2025 and 2026, we're looking at doing it over 2 years. Obviously that increase in plan commission meetings is only going to increase too, because we're going to have to keep them abreast. And if we have obviously more than 4 in a meeting, it consults a quorum, so we'd have to pay our members for those meetings. Any questions on that first before I kind of go into some more things? Plan Commission, BZA pay, okay. That's kind of the easy part. There's a slight increase in gasoline for the truck in 2022. I just upped it, I believe, $2,000. Gas prices aren't going down. And our building inspector needs to travel to building sites, so we need the money there. Also requested an increase in our attorney fees for the comprehensive plan review. That was at $20,000 budgeted. I'm proposing that it gets increased $15,000 to $35,000. I don't know if we will use it all. That's a ballpark, throw it at the wall, hope it sticks. Andrew's probably going to be reviewing things as the Plan Commission attorney, which is his retainer fee, versus it being a special project. So, but if there's things that he needs to work on as far as looking at laws to make sure that if a law is mentioned in our comprehensive plan, that it's actually law, or, checking the legalese of it. I just want to make sure I have money budgeted in there so I don't have to come back. And then, as I was just stating, the request for the consultant fees for the comprehensive plan rewrite, as I came to you guys earlier this year and discussed that, we had 6 responses to the RFQ, which was pretty good, I think. We did interviews with 4 and are requesting proposals from 2. Those proposals are due tomorrow, and then going to Plan Commission on July 17th. At the Plan Commission meeting, the Plan Commission will give a recommendation to the county commissioners to move forward with X consultant to move forward with a contract negotiations. At that time, so we're not really going to know if this moves forward. A, we don't get it budgeted, it's not moving forward. Or B, commissioners don't approve or adopt or approve the contract. So there's kind of 2 things that are weighing on things outside of my realm as staff to the Plan Commission. It's the budget and the contract getting approved. But I am requesting $100,000 for that this year. As I said earlier this year, quotes that I've heard just through my network is anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. Again, we are looking at doing this over 2 years. So a 2-year budget cycle. So hopefully we could get most of that money. Again, I will know what proposal we move forward with on July 17th. I can forward you that information on that day or that evening. So you have something to work with budget-wise. Yeah. That's what I don't know yet is it could, if it's a 2-year cycle, then I can say we can cut that down $50,000. If it comes back at $150,000, let me do my math in my head, $75,000 this year, $75,000 next. Or if we would want to do $100,000 this year and what's the word? When you encumber the money from year to year. So again, I won't know until tomorrow and then July 17th, but I will get that to you guys so you have it. Yep. Other things are slight increase in telecommunications, the 33240. We have an office cell phone. Isn't that fun to have? For people to be able to text us pictures if our inspector he's out this whole week. So we do have a contract with the city of Auburn. We pay them, I believe, $45 or $50 per inspection for them to go out and do inspections for us. Might be more than that, like $75 an inspection. Anyway, that the county pays the city of Auburn to do those inspections. If we can get people to send us pictures with a measuring tape in the ground showing that they're at least 36 inches deep, at least 14 inches wide, I think, or something, 16 inches wide, we can just approve those. So anyway, the office cell phone, so you guys are aware, is for us to have inspector or contractors send us photos of their projects. And then also to ensure quorums in our meetings, we text our BZA and Plan Commission members. We find that they, except for one that may be in this room, replies to text messages better than replying to emails. So, are you stunned? He wants us to call him individually, and Meredith, I think, does.
Let's mail you a letter.
Yeah, exactly. Send a carrier pigeon to him.
You know,
So,
flattery gets you everywhere.
I know. So that's why we have the office cell phone for kind of those sort of things. It helps us with our day-to-day duties. So anyway, upping the telecommunication fees for that reason, and then we have a Wi-Fi router for one of the inspection vehicles. One thing that commissioners are looking to do July 15th, just so you are all aware, and something to look into adding as a line item for 2025, if it would get approved, Susan will bring it forward, I'm sure, is a non-reverting fund for our building permit fees. We're looking at increasing our building permit fees by double. They've not been increased at all since 2000. We are the lowest by at least 2 cents per square foot, anywhere from 2 cents to 10 cents additional per square foot. So ours current building permit fees for someone to build a house is 5 cents per square foot, $25 minimum. Wells, Noble, Steuben, those are all above us. I could get you those figures if you want to see them. But the fees are the responsibility of the commissioners to adopt. The meetings that I've had with them, they would like to see those increased. One reason that I've requested a non-reverting fund is we had to buy a new truck 3 years after we just purchased our old truck. There was about 140-some thousand miles, Susan, if you can remember off your top of your head, that we had with our brand new Colorado. And then we had transmission issues. It was recommended from dealers that it's trading it in is going to be well worth it than trying to fix the transmission. Transmission was going to be, I don't know, $6,000 or $8,000, and that was more than what we were willing to spend on a truck that's probably worth less. So if we need to get a new truck every 3 years, I would like to have that. I think that one thing that I see building permits and improvement location permits as a user fee based approach, meaning the fees that are collected from building permits should be used to help fund that department. Right now, they all go into the county general, I think. It all goes into the county general. So we made the county assessed fees about $55,000 last year for building permits. If the fees increase, we're looking at about $110,000 based off of our 2023 building permit fees. And I would like to try to be able to use some of that money to help pay for department needs, especially with when we weren't expecting to buy a new truck in the 6 or 8 weeks that we needed to. Even some of the items that we use, cell phones, tablets, operation supplies, gas, could any of that be used in that non-reverting fund? So it's not coming from taxpayer dollars, but it's coming from the users using our department, the people, the citizens using our department. I think it makes sense, even if it is half of what we would get or something. I think the ordinance would have to be written up that way. But something to think about if this does get adopted on July 15th is a non-reverting fund from our building permit fees that we could use for our office. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on, because I heard it earlier today, was with the WIS classification studies and potentially having a retroactive pay on employees. I don't know what your discussion was in approving that or not approving that or leaning towards approval or not. But I just wanted to state too that that charity in my office administrator position, got approved from COMOD A to COMOD B. And when I asked during the WIS classification meeting if that pay would be retroactive, I believe I was told, no, it's not. So if it does, I just want to fight for my office, for my people. If you're going to do it for one, I feel like you should do it for the others. My face is getting red because I'm probably embarrassed talking about money in front of you guys. But you can see my face getting red. But I just feel like it would be fair if it's the same all the way around. I do realize that some of it is executive versus hourly employees. That gets touchy. Elected officials versus appointed officials, that gets touchy. But I just wanted to touch on that too before I let you guys go today. But before you let me go. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. So that's all I had on the major things that are changing within my budget. I did go over it with Bill. The capital improvements plan, the things that are in our budget that we have to pay for. Looking at 2025 is that third year Eagle View aerial imagery. The third year is $56,407.50, and then 26, 27, and 28, that increased which we're already under contract for, to about $62,500. So they went from about a 56 to 62. That my math is bad. That's $6,000. $6,000 increase from 2025 to 2026 through 2028. But those are yearly payments, and we're under contract to pay those. The comprehensive plan I touched on. Office remodel, I heard at the commissioners meeting too that they were looking at potentially remodeling part of our office for the VA to move in, I believe, their office, which would then do a remodel for ours. But I ask every year, and I'll ask again for more money for office remodel if we can get it. We've been there long enough. We're used to it, but it'd be nice to have a little bit of new. But if you give me the 100,000, I won't ask for an office remodel. You guys have any questions for me on that?
Any questions, comments? Hearing none. Thanks, Chris.
Yep, and I'll be
Appreciate
sure to email Susan that information so she can get it to you all for the
Okay,
comp
thank you.
plan stuff.
Okay. Mr. Parker, in the Highway Department.
How is everybody today?
Doing good, thank you.
That's good. I asked Dave and he come in. I said, so after everybody you talked to today, you remember everything you've been told? I got the same response from him, right? So anyway, I've got a big budget here, guys. I'm going to touch on the bigger changes. It's over the 4% that I had marked. But if you have any other questions on something, please let me know and I'll try my best to answer it. I'm going to start out with the salaries. What I did, as the council recommended to do a 4%. That's what I did across the board, with the exception of one employee. It was my assistant. I put in for it's come out about 5.6% for him, just because Mark's great. I can't say enough good about him, what he does, and the work and effort he puts in. I thought I worried, but I think he trumps me with his worrying on things. So I just wanted to show a little bit of appreciation to him and try to increase that a little bit more. So if you guys would take a look at that as well, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to start in on the budget on my covered bridge maintenance fund. And there are the big changes. Well, there's two changes. The one is the put in for $210,000 for a roof replacement on the covered bridge. I'm hoping to do that next year. I'm working on getting some cost estimates on that. I went with the higher estimate because we are under a DNR agreement from the grant that we had 3 years ago. We're under a 10-year agreement with that anything we do to that bridge has got to go through them and have approval. And I'm kind of assuming they're probably going to make us put the cedar shakes back on it instead of they make a steel shingle that represents a cedar shake, but it is not. That would probably be the best for a longevity, and I'd like to do. Right. So I'm working on getting some specs of the different materials that we could potentially use that would still keep a little bit of the rustic look to the covered bridge, and send that to the DNR and see whether or not they would approve that. If not, they can hold us to putting the cedar back on it. So that's what we're kind of in limbo for a little bit. And like I said, this will hopefully be a project for next year. I also increased the electric for down there from $1,000 to $1,200 a year, just because the electric, I don't know if there's been a rate increase for it, but it might come up a little bit short this year if we don't increase it. Going to 1138, the Cume Cap Fund. And there I've increased, let's see, it'll be line item 35016 to $750,000. That is for Bridge 75. That is on County Road 16 west of 19. That one is under engineering right now, and that's the engineer's estimate for replacement. So I'd like to move forward with replacing that one next year. We went from $35,000 to $96,200 on the 35070. That's for the countywide bridge inspections. That's because we're due for a full inspection cycle this next time around. That changes. It's a 4-year cycle, so we got to a phase 1, a phase 1A, a phase 2, a phase 2A. So on the A cycles, we just got to do the bridges that's got a restriction or a fail of some type. So there's just a couple of those where the total phase is all of our bridges. I added 30.
Printing, just a second. You guys don't have all of his funds. I just noticed that they're not all in here, so I'm printing new for everybody.
I'm gonna say, where's
We're all looking.
We heard you.
Then I'll try to talk a little bit more on the numbers from prior to current. So I added a 35,299, which is Bridge 501 here on Cedar Street. We put in for 200,000 for that for engineering. That one's due for a rehab and deck replacement. So I want to get the engineering started on that one. So that's what I have in that fund. On their Hume Bridge, 1135, I decreased the funds of the supplies by 25,000 from 325, by 5,000, from 325 to 320. The other thing that changed in there for this year is 35012, Bridge 503, which is on Auburn Drive. I put 150,000 in that for engineering. That one's due for a rehab and deck maintenance as well. So we'll get the engineering done on that, and then hopefully next year the following year, I'll get those out for construction. I'm trying to do X amount of bridges a year for engineering and then get some or two, depending on the cost, the following year for construction to keep up on our rotation. And then I also increased on the Hume Bridge, the 35,115 account from 25,000 to 30,000. That is for our annual brush control. That sprays all of our bridges and pipes and guardrails for the noxious weeds and things, just to keep that under control. So the cost has been going, I spent 25,000 for years, and the cost of his materials and things are going up. So that's why I increased that, so we can keep up on that. Moving to the 1169 local road and street. I got a purchase of a roller in there we're hoping to do. I put in for 155,000 for next year. And also got a purchase of 2 tandem dump trucks. One of the tandem dump trucks was budgeted for this year. And we found that going through getting quotes, and actually we ended up bidding that. I learned that when we was bidding these in 2026, there's another big emissions change coming to the diesel. So the cost is going to go up, and I'm really hesitant about being the guinea pig on the new emission. So I spoke with the commissioners, and we went ahead and bid for 2 trucks. So hoping to encumber this year's. We won't see these trucks until probably the middle of the end of next year. So we did it for 2, and then I was hoping to budget for 1 for the next year. Go ahead and get us 2, and then skip a year, and then hopefully maybe the emissions won't be so bad, or they'll have it figured out. So the emissions is that's the animal in a lot of our newer trucks. So they can be great or they can be your enemy. So that's what I did on the local road and street. The County Road 56 fund stayed the same. So MVH restricted. I made some changes in that this year. Last year we budgeted 650,000 for gravel and stone. This year I did 450. Last year we did 750,000, or excuse me, not last, it'd be this year, I apologize. 750,000. This year I did 570. I decreased the grader blades from 45,000 to 25. I also decreased the restricted repair parts from 45,000 to 30,000. And then I added that money that we saved back into the contractual. I went from 500,000 to 700,000 for contractual for next year. We've been trying to FDR a lot of our roads that we got to get resurfaced and paved. The FDRs are full depth reclamation. So a lot of our rural county roads has got a high crown, low shoulders. When you go in and pave them or just overlay them, you get your shoulders built up so high. I'm trying to eliminate that, and also a lot of our roads are 18-foot wide. I want them a minimum of 20, so we can go in and grind that. We put cement in there and help establish the base. We can haul material in. That way, when they go through and do that, they'll lay that back out. We'll fine grade it. We can put seal over the top of that, or we can pave on top. So we've incorporated that in our annual bids. So I've got that on an annual now, so hopefully we can start incorporating that in some of our road maintenance projects moving forward. That is all I see that's changed in the MVH restricted fund. The 1176 highway fund. I increased the overtime from 130,000 to 140, and then from 23,000 to 25,000 on the overtime. Those are paid. The overtime's different. One's for the office, one's for, we were paid like my mechanics, and then the larger amounts for the rest of the employees. On the winter and the weather, it's just hard to say. That's the majority were our overtime. Some years that we get a lot, some years we don't get too many. I did increase the 22-110 account from 1,200 to 1,800. That's for office supplies. We're updating our office as we move, and we're not buying a whole lot until we get moved. And then when we do, I'm expecting to have some changes and a little bit of cost increase due to the changes. So hopefully that will cover us on what we're planning. I did reduce the fuel from 390,000 to 300. Knock on wood, I don't want to get the cart in front of the horse, but our fuel costs have been down the last couple of years when we've contracted. We've had extra money left in that line, so I reduced that to hopefully alleviate some other areas. The other cost that we've had to increase was our tires in the 22-330 account. Did that from 30,000 to 40,000. I've got a lot more vehicles and truck tires coming due for next year. And I increased the 32,780 from 8,000 to 10,000. That is to help pay for the size of the office that we have for cleaning. Not sure what that cost is going to be. I know we've got it pretty cheap where we're at now, but with new offices, added square footage, I don't know for sure on the cost we're going to. Sure it's going to be more. The 35,510, we had 14,000 originally for electric. Our new location, I increased that to 15,000. Just going off of the electric bill that we've been getting the last few months. Not seeing that we're not even there operable. I'm a little concerned that what that cost is going to be. So I upped that just a little bit. Same way with the gas. I upped the gas from 15,000 to 20,000 for heating more buildings, heating more square footage. I increased the 35,580 from 3,500 to 4,000. That's our waste removal. We've been here lately, we've been having to call for a lot of extra dumps due to picking up a lot of the extra trash on the county road. So when that happens, we got to get extra dumps, or we got. And then on the 33,610, I increased that from 12,000 to 15,000. That's for contractual equipment repair. When we got to send something out, we've hit that budget pretty hard this year. So I know we got some other equipment that's not holding up real well, and I'm just concerned we're going to have a lot of maintenance coming here soon that we're not going to be able to perform on some of this. That is what I have for increases on the budget. I think I've touched everything on the budget that was 4% or more. Most everything else has stayed the same from what we budgeted prior years. It seems to be working fine. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, glad to answer what I can.
Ben, a year ago, a little more than a year ago, we were having trouble getting CDL drivers. That eased up any at all, or?
It's hit and miss. That would be something, I know we talked about that a year ago with the salary increases. I am fully staffed at the moment, but I wouldn't let that deter you. It is still a high demand job, and it's a skilled job that's not real easy to get. I've got people trying to take my employees, and thankfully I've got a really good crew, guys, and they're loyal, but there comes a point when the money's called. So if we can keep it competitive, we've got a good crew that I think a lot of. They do a lot for the county, and it's nice to have a crew that has the heart and passion you guys got to work together and to learn. We did just buy a paver this year. We bought a used paver it actually come from Branch County, Michigan. And the way them guys has jumped on that and figuring that out, wanting to do good, and we've been paving at the new unit up there out back where we're going to pile the sand for the winter. I don't want gravel and stuff. It's been really inspiring to watch them work and learn, and some of them's even watching YouTube videos on make sure they get it right. So, because paving's not
Thank
our
God
forte.
for YouTube.
I know it, right? But you know, it's an older machine, and a lot of our guys hasn't paved. You know, my assistant has, thank goodness for him. He's done a lot of it. A couple other guys have, but you know, that's a skill. You got to run them, get used to it, and hopefully get a little bit better at it. We can start doing some of our own. There's been several.
What's the newest?
I really don't have one. I hope soon. I'm really hoping soon because I'm hoping by August. I'm hoping. It's coming quick. I talked to the electrician just before I come here, and he's telling me he's probably got another month. So depending on what he can get done, I'm working with them on some prioritizing areas. That way, hopefully, it can alleviate us to get in some, and then they can finish the outer buildings. That's my goal. There's some stuff out back. We've been hauling some material up there. That's why we're getting this paving done. We can haul all of our sand up there. Yeah, I have to. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. I've done out back. I do have some aerial pictures on my phone. I've got a drone. I took some pictures. But out back, we shaved that whole area. All the millings I got from a project, we milled that whole area out back. We moved all of our blocks. I call them like the cement Lego blocks that we're building our bunks out of. Guys are up there actually working on that today. We've done a lot of work. Me and my assistant has done a substantial amount of work in the existing office. We've been improving that. So we've been up there a lot. The bad thing is it's still technically under construction, so I can't really move stuff in and hinder any of that until the majority of their work. I have been up there installing shelvings out for the shop, out in the sign, where the sign room's going to be. We had to remodel that. We spent a lot of time up there doing a lot ourselves. So it saved the county a lot of money and plus just getting a project. So, but I'm hoping the transfer switch that we was waiting on is there, it's installed. But it seems to be we hit a null there once they announced that was going to be delaying that transfer switch. No one was out there working. I mean, there was some, but not what we should have had in order to get everything done. So, let's gain it.
Bobby Kraft has a large history in dump trucks and gravel trucks, so his retirement, talk to him. Might be your guy.
Yeah, we can hook him up. At the very least in a mower tractor or
He
something.
likes to come in around noon, and he goes home around 12:30. But
Right
besides
after
that,
lunch, right?
What's that?
Right after lunch, right?
No, that's it. That is his lunch. He shows up. Yeah.
Right?
Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Ben?
Real quick, Ben, you and I had talked, and you said something that you were gonna raise the on-call, try to raise that.
Oh,
Doesn't look like it's
yes.
raised on here, it looks like it's the same.
I'm sorry.
Unless
I'm
I'm
glad you
reading
said
the
that.
wrong line.
I'm glad I didn't highlight that. I apologize. It's currently $125 a week, and I'd like to raise that to $150 per week.
But the total, unless I'm looking, it says 7950, that's what you had it last year.
That is the line item you're looking for is probably, that is for the office overtime money.
Okay.
So I keep a little bit of money in there in case the office ever works overtime. That pays that. That's not the same line.
Is that overtime straight time? Is that where
Oh, boy, I don't know. It is paid, I think that is paid out of the 1150,074. I think it's paid out of that for the on-call pay, I believe. That would be a candy question to answer that truthfully.
but it's, you got it in here.
I got it on our Form 144, yes. Yeah, it'd be the very bottom one on the Form 144 that I signed. I might have made an error.
You were going from
125 per week to 150 per week.
I just wanted to add really quickly that I really appreciate you working hard with your capital needs and took the time to diligently turn in good numbers to council because your budget is substantial and we just appreciate the good quality data.
Anybody else, any questions or comments?
No, just a comment, Ben, for you. I talked to some commissioners and they noted that you've put in a ton of overtime, helping the county save a ton of money, and we are very, very grateful to you. Thank you very much for the time that you've done, the extra. And I know this project has taken a lot of heat, which is really unfortunate because I don't know that they know all the ins and outs, but you've done a great job and we are very appreciative. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful for it. I know it's, like I said, it's been controversial, some of it. Some of the construction's been delayed, it's been a little aggravating, but when it's done, we still are gonna have a nice facility. We are, so that's gonna be nice. And it's well, I mean, it's gonna help us be more efficient
Yes.
things and
I think that's a big driver. It's going to be much more efficient than
just the
where
material
you
we
guys are
can
at now.
house is huge.
Yes.
So I'm really surprised I haven't gotten a question on the County Road 56 project, but it is moving forward. The peat area is all removed and backfilled. They finished that yesterday. So the project is moving. Hopefully it stays on schedule. We're still early in the year yet. The closure goes till, I believe, the second week of October. So they had a 120-day closure from when they closed it.
And what is the final completion date scheduled for?
Final is actually next spring.
Is it?
when everything's
Okay.
Done. I think it's April or June. I have to look again. But that 2025, that's when the ditches are done and sloped and the grass all seeded and going. But the substantial completion is October. I remember. So, but it's coming along. We've ran over a little bit on some areas, but we've got a lot to go yet. Hopefully that will weigh back out. It's a big project.
I have a quick question on on-call.
Yes.
Is there more than one person on call at a time?
I got one that's on call, and then when he gets called in, if it's more than he can call, typically his partner.
So 150 at 52 weeks is only 7,800. So the 7,950 would cover it.
Cover it. Yeah.
That might be, I thought that was for the office.
We need
staff, but it might be.
to make sure the salary ordinance has changed.
If there's something I need to help you amend.
We're good.
But yeah, it's how our on-call works. I have one guy that carries the phone 24/7. That way I have guaranteed one person to go in, prelim, hold the road, sign down, whatever it may be. And if he gets out there, if it's more than he can handle, he'll call me or call someone. I'll get more people to help with that. Most generally, we get called for a tree. It's something getting big that they just can't drag out of the road. It's attached, a couple cuts, or a sign, or a washout. Sometimes it's a lot more than that, but not all.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Ben? Ben, I want to thank you. It was a very good presentation, and I know the council thanks you for all of the updates because you're one of the few departments where your needs and demands change not only daily but hourly, and we appreciate the updates. And so many times this happens after the fact because with the weather and that, it all happens, boom, all at once.
Everything
So,
changes a lot in my world now.
It does, and you do a good job of keeping us
And as
surprised.
always, as any of you have got questions anytime, call me, email me, whatever. Be glad to show you anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ben.
guys.
Mr. Smith, are you ready?
Oh. Oh, this is certainly different. My last chance, my last time around here, so.
Was that so that we're easy on you, or is that, you want to just make sure we knew that this was your last chance at this? You want us to be easy on you, or?
No, fire away. So, it's been an interesting year. We've been, the department's been blessed with, some, good additions to our staff. Basic Cordy back here, he's in training, basically as the next department head, for DeKalb County. And we, hired in, she started out as an intern at Purdue Fort Wayne, and she, graduated, Olivia Ospaw. She's taking care of help desk administration as well as, configuring some training programs and everything like that. That goes along with Logan, who's just been a rock since he started many years ago. So we're really we're in a great position to improve services and keep existing things going on down the road. And so we're really pleased with that. Some of the concerns that I did have, Susan and I talked about yesterday, was like the retirement budget and the PTO payouts, because John Ober will be leaving somewhere in the middle of December, and then I'll be out December 31st. So there was that additional monies in the budget that we had to be taking care of, but Susan reminded me of how we took care of it last year, and we're in a position to, we're not going to have to take any additionals or anything like that. That's good. We talked about additional staff, if on a wish list, it'd be great to have like a training position. One of the bigger positions that we need to really consider is the cyber position. And a perk would be like a judicial system administrator, since the courts and all of the prosecutors, public defenders, they sort of operate in a different way from the property tax people and that. But those are just sort of wishes on down the road to make things a little bit better.
While you're talking about personnel, I mean, there was some discussion in Central Communications about the functions that John Ober does out there being taken over by Brian and his staff. Is that still in discussion, or?
They opted out of that.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But we're working with a person over at the city that's interested in taking over some of the Spillman administration, possibly in a part-time position. That's about as far as I want to go with that conversation, but we certainly have some things in the works that'll help with that position. And then as far as hardware repair, maintenance, and that, our current staff can certainly go out there in a moment and take care of that position. So some of the other concerns that we have right now is just the hardware cost. It's so volatile still. The price for memory and hard drives and that is just crazy from time to time. And they're still having some sort of supply chain problems. this piece of equipment here that has a problem switching every once in a while. It's a perfect example. We've had that on order for 6 months now. And we just try to limp along and keep switch going. And our support costs are increasing. Everyone's adding additional charges. And unfortunately, there's a few companies that we've been dealing with that are no longer in business. So support cost increases and the availability is decreasing. So that makes things rather tough for scheduling things. And because of that, we're relying a lot more on Larry Lane and his staff to repair certain items, run cabling, do things like that, that we're normally not in his things that he would normally do. So, but they've been great, and they've helped us out quite a bit on this, on many things. One of the projects next year is the city is no longer going to be. The city will no longer upgrade their Cisco call manager software, basically due to cost, and AES has their own phone system in that, so they're going to be dumping that system, and as a result, we're going to have to. We're in the process of testing the AES phone system for the county. So I have no idea yet. Susan from AES is supposed to be getting me some information as far as what the overall cost is going to be in doing it. I know what we're paying Cisco for and support can certainly offset some of that. So that'll be an interesting move. We're still having ongoing discussions with the city as far as the status of the county-city interlocal agreement that was pretty much in jeopardy for a couple of years there after the Mayor Lay fired some of the IT staff over there. So I don't really have a status on that yet. One of the big things that we're focusing on now is cybersecurity. I don't know if you all, we shared some information this morning that Monroe County got hit over the weekend, and they're down. Their courts are down, assessors down, taxes down. So that's a big surprise, unfortunately. So we're going to be focusing on the Know Before training. We're running some reports right now that will give us an idea of who's actually taking the training and who's not. And we're going to take those reports and give it to the department heads and say, here you go, folks. Because it's not if, it's when on some of these cases. So we've got a good plan in motion to take care of that. The good part about this is AES monitors our firewall since they're technically our ISP. And they're as vulnerable as we are if something goes through because of the city of Auburn being on the same system and that. So we've got this little buffer in that, but that doesn't take away any of the urgency of it to get it taken care of. So that's sort of where we stand this year. I did give you the budget planner for assets. We're right on track with our PC replacements, network switch replacements. Actually, we were sort of pushed forward with the PC replacements because of Windows 11. There was quite a few of our systems running Windows 10 that couldn't be upgraded to 11, so that pushed us a little bit harder in getting them done. Logan did a fantastic job of planning and implementing. When all is said and done, we're under 25 units that can't be upgraded at this point, and those are low-use units. So that's all coming along. As far as the budget goes, as far as the staff goes, I've got 3 on staff that are right at the top of the pay range through the WISC program. So hopefully we can get that resolved for next year. Yeah, because there's nowhere to go. So, but I'm sure we can get that resolved.
That's for every position?
I'm sorry?
For every position, we're at the top?
No, I've got three right now, right at the top.
That's another reason to really need that wage study for the area as to what's being paid. Because much like Ben was talking about his CDL drivers being prime targets for other companies, Jack's people, the IT people are going to be prime targets for other counties and other businesses. Got to do something to make sure that we can keep our staff, especially, we've got a pretty darn good staff. One of the things that we're doing, the commissioners are doing this year is installing the generator. Because I know, didn't we incur some cost with the power outage that we had a few weeks ago?
Yeah, we ended up losing 2 network switches and a couple workstations, if I remember right. The total was about just under $22,000 for replacements. So
hopefully with that, once that generator's connected and running, it prevents something like that from happening again.
Yeah, and we've been replacing the APC units because, just because you have the generator, not everything's going to be on the APC. So some of the units are going to be something will go down in the minute that it takes for the transfer switch to cut over and the generator to actually start up. So, but with the event that happened a couple of weeks ago, it was hours. And, battery backups just said, they rolled over and said done. And when the switches went down, a lot of problems with the older switches was, they sort of get baked in as far as their components go. And they're always on, they're always on, they're always on, and you turn it off and they have a chance to cool down. And that's when you start having your problems. But, we're in the process. I've got 5 new switches installed by the end of the year. By the end of the year, I plan on having the rest of them done, at least in the core locations and that, so.
Since we're now having to record and save all of these meetings and that, there was an issue that was brought up recently as about, we're saving this on YouTube. And the question became, who owns it?
Yeah.
Is it ours, or do we need to make provisions to store it in a different way, or have you, among the other IT people, because it's county government is the one really thinking about this, has that been a discussion at all as to?
We don't have many other counties that are actually at our level at this point. And we had Huntington, that was our demo county in that. There's quite a few that haven't went that way yet, so it's something that we consider.
Huntington, Whitley, I think Henry County is doing it. You're right, they don't have to do it until next year, but this was brought up at a meeting I was at by a couple county attorneys.
Yeah.
Questioning who owns this and is it qualified for how it's being saved.
Yeah. It's being streamed and it's also going to an SD card, so depending on what the decision is, we can easily just copy it off the SD card and store it locally. And that way, if YouTube ever goes, we would still have the recording. Good point.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Jack? Jack, just want to thank you for all your help over the years here. And speaking for the council, I really appreciate how we don't speak the same language, and you try to dummy it down for us. And I know we still sit here cross-eyed looking at some of it there, but you always keep trying it, and you keep us apprised, though. And your department is also one that can change in a flash, literally there. And really, really appreciate all you've done. So thank you.
Awesome.
And I just want to let Basia know that things have gone smooth. That doesn't mean next year we're going to give you the same break, so be aware.
Welcome, basically.
I'm looking forward to it. If he comes back, he's a keeper then, so. But thank you both for everything.
Thanks, Jack.
Okay, Lisa Rogers.
Okay, before we go
Okay,
further, do you want me to put a 4% increase in here for their wages for planning?
Yeah.
I think for planning we do, yes.
Because there's nothing.
Yeah.
What did he say? They were up to the limit?
Yeah, they're up to the limit. But 3 of them are, I think the other ones maybe open ones.
Less than 15 minutes.
Him because
I was going to say, he's got 2 people that are just fairly new. One that's just new this year and one that's new just last year, so they're probably not at the top yet, but,
All set? Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
pass it.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Lisa Rogers with the Extension Office. Our budget is pretty straightforward this year, no major asks. So when we look at what you actually granted us last year, at the end of last year, we had a new hire come in, Heather Walden, as one of our deputies. And at that point in time, we actually had 3 deputies working in the office because she was hired in as Kim Quintrell's replacement. She was only there, overlapped for about 3 weeks of the pay period. But at that point in time, our part-time line item went up to $15,608 to cover more than what that was. Generally, our part-time, we only have about $2,500 in there, just in case we need somebody to help last minute with a few things, potentially for fare or other items. So by the time you take out that, lower that $15,608 back to the $2,500 line item, I've asked for a 3.5% increase for both of my deputies. We did ask for a $900 increase in training costs, basically, well, travel training, education, because with 3 educators, as many of you probably know, the cost of conferences are not decreasing. They're going up quite a bit. But that's just an extra $300 per educator to help us potentially with some conferences and trainings this coming year. You will note that there is a new subscriptions line item. It's just $200. So that is for our KPC media subscription. Prior to this, it had been tucked into, I think, maybe our supplies line item. But as Susan had suggested, we need to make that its own separate line item. So we did ask for just $200 extra to cover that, and keeping our supplies the same as it's been the last several years at $4,500. Purdue has asked for a 3% increase on our contractual agreement line item. That puts us at $132,680. But beyond that, everything else is the same from what it's been the last several years. So overall, if my math is correct, it looks like about a 2.8% increase over last year's ask. So once you take out that additional part-time line item or additional funds from that line item.
Question, you said that Purdue wanted a 3%, and we're showing 2.04, is that correct, Susan?
Okay.
Do we need to bump that up to 3%?
This was the amount that they sent us to ask. They said not to ask for any more. So
Okay.
if their math is off,
Purdue did?
we'll put it on them. Yes, this was $132,680 is what they asked us to ask this year from you all. So,
I do math.
yeah. So,
Mitch Daniels taught them well at Purdue, believe me.
this was the figure I was given to ask. So, as I was looking at this morning, I'm like, that looks like a little less than 3%, but that's what
We'll take it.
that's what they asked us to ask.
Thank
So,
you.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Alicia here?
What, this is for, does their perf and health insurance come out of that, or do we pay that?
For
Comes out of county?
for the deputies.
Yeah.
We as educators, this covers a part of our salary, and then Purdue, through other state and national funding, covers the rest of our salary, benefits, insurance, all of that for us as educators.
So in other words, this, I've never understood this anyway, but anyway, that 100 and whatever you decide, I can't even find it. 45, that's just your partial salary.
Correct.
And that's just what we owe them, so
Correct.
they can round it up the IU way and pay you more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. But yeah, that just covers a portion of our salaries.
Yeah.
You know, most of us don't have any contact with the extension office on a yearly basis. But Alyssa has been working on and off since COVID on the emergency plan for our county residents, and been bringing together a lot of different groups, Homeland Security, police, fire, cities and towns, and so she's been doing quite a good job, and so we're all having contact with her now, which we didn't have before.
She's also part of she's a non-voting member of the planning commission, right?
Correct. And chair of plat committee, and yeah,
She has to be attended.
there's involvement. And then obviously our 4-H program is strong within the county. And Angela has worked hard with some of our mental health programs and things like that. We're partnering quite a bit with Fortified Life, delivering programs to their neighbors over there. And so.
Anything else for Alyssa? Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it.
Oh, hey, don't forget your candy. Your bonus, we're going even shorter. Remember this tomorrow, ladies. You want candy tomorrow.
You gotta go to the other side for the other treats.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll take 15 minutes. Let's come back in here at 20 till 3. They'll get us 5 minutes earlier, and we'll see if Bill Hartman's here, and we'll be ready to go. So we're in recess.
We're back on if you're.
Back on.
Yeah.
Back in session. At this time, we'll hear from Commissioner Bill Hartman.
Hello, everyone.
Afternoon.
I don't know how you want to do this. You want me to go through this somewhat, or have you had a chance to look at it? Any questions? However you want to go about it, we can do that.
Your big hit items would be the first thing there.
Which one?
The big hit items or your major increases, what you're thinking of there, Bill?
Let me dial you up a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, right. Sorry stuff. Yeah, that's one of the smaller ticket items actually is the striped. And I decided commissioners don't get anything for a telephone, don't get anything for, paperwork that we do and the miles we put on running around the county. So I thought, all three of us are equals and that I would just forego my striped and divide it between the three of us, $1,000 apiece. It's more or less an expense account. So that's why that changed from 26 just for me to 3,000 and split between the three of us.
Actually, that stipend is in state law. It's for the president of the council and the president of the commissioners, and I don't believe can be changed.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if
That
that's
was
the case.
something that was something that the legislature added about 5 years ago.
Okay. All righty. So mark that out. Okay, health insurance. As you can see, a big jump. We've got some concerns here with the process. I just talked to Todd. We want to have a session with Apex and find out just exactly why they're predicting that we'd need this much increase. I think Susan, right, we were at 2.5 million last year. We went on 175,000 approximately, right? So we're looking at $1 million or $2.75 million. We were thinking more in the line of $3 million would be what to put towards self-funding healthcare. I don't understand. I guess Susan, and I just got this last night, the $777,310 for expenditure. When is that calculated from the 1st of July or?
Oh, that was, let me pull my. Let me think. That would have been when I initially pulled these numbers. I can tell you what we've spent so far. So as of right now, today, we have spent $1,269,886.
From when? First of the year?
Yeah.
First of the year.
For 6 months.
So we're not that far off. Unless something drastic happens. Ended up in
As
decent
far
shape
as
at
I
the end of the
know.
year. Yeah. So I don't know, Susan, can you shed any light on why that jumped? I know we went all through this with Apex and we're not sure. Todd wasn't sure. He understood it completely and I wasn't. Where's?
Yeah, he was asking me, okay, so Apex gives us a total cost analysis plan, and then the commissioners decide which proposal they want to approve. So they approved proposal 4. Then at the bottom of the sheet, it has a total fixed and expected annual cost, which is $3,789,920. That value is the value that they suggest we budget to be sure that we're covered. So that 4 million number that you see in there is that plus the possible attorneys that aren't already figured in. So, the piece of it that I don't have right this moment is I don't have deducted from that, like, the amount that the employees pay. So we technically wouldn't be paying it because the employees pay their portion. However, that's not how I budgeted for this year. I didn't take that part away because they told me to budget that value that was there on their page. So that's how I came up with the 4 million, was the possible benefits if they get offered to prosecuting public defender attorneys plus the 3.7 that they gave us. And the only other thing that I remember, and insurance really isn't my thing, is that we were supposed to expect, I think, a greater increase from last year to this year because the first year was only based on like half a year or something.
Data, right.
Yep.
Right.
Besides that, I'm sorry, I really can't tell you why it's higher.
Yeah, it's, what do I want to say? It's a big jump, and I realize that it could be quite a bit less than that. We just don't know. And I guess we just want to make sure we were covered, if at all possible. One thing I'm a little disappointed in, and that is the wellness program of the employees. I was originally asking, proposing that if we fell behind in our first year or second year, third year, that we increase the copay that the employees would have to shoulder to put more responsibility on them for their own health care, their own well-being. But that didn't happen. They did not increase any of the copays. So what we're trying to do with the copays is to make up the difference of no deductible and a lower premium to the employees. But at this point, it hasn't quite worked out that way. And it's going to take some time for this thing to evolve, I think, and get to where it's on the plus side. But in the meantime, that's a big jump, and I realize that.
It is, but in budgeting that amount, you're going to actually protect the county. It's a good thing. You're right, it's going to take a couple of years for this thing to evolve the way it should.
Yeah.
And with some of the different incentives you're going to give. But, you know, when I first came on council, we were in debt from our previous experience with self-funding, and we were like 2 million in the hole. And it took a number of years to get us out of that. So, of course, I don't think we had the quality people backing us up like we do now with Apex. So it will work out, but by budgeting this amount, you're going to make sure that we don't go in the hole. We'll always have that amount. It's a good thing.
Yeah, any other concerns, questions on that subject? Yes.
Okay, so I had asked him if he had an updated amount, and he had told me yes. So, however, I guess the 210,000 was a quote that he had gotten in like 2021, I believe. So it's not an updated amount.
Oh, that was, the 210 was the updated quote. It was 160 or 70 back in 2021.
Okay, so perfect. So 210 is okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right, hold that thought. So there is the Covered Bridge Fund, which had 210,000 in it. The commissioners, they always have a line in their lighted budget. They had agreed to, they had just 100,000. They agreed to go up to 150, and then we were going to do the difference in the Covered Bridge Maintenance Fund of 80 or whatever that is. So, but we're keeping the 210 in the covered bridge maintenance fund in case costs would come in more than the 210 by the time it gets ready to be done, then it's already there and able to be spent. But the commissioners agreed to put 150,000 towards it. You will also see in one of my budgets that there is a covered bridge donation fund, which also is going to show that I'm budgeting 210,000, I believe. That doesn't mean that that's going to get spent either. But if a donation would come into that fund, I have to have an appropriation there so that I can spend out of that fund. So I just threw the 210 in there. I can't spend it unless I actually get money that comes in to do it. But that way we're covered on all bases depending on the price. Correct.
Yeah, we'd like to do look-alike steel shakes. But, and this is kind of it's hard to narrow down what this is actually going to cost until we bid it out, because it's a whole different project from normal roof projects. As you probably well know, we can't just rip it off and throw the shakes into the river. So it's going to be a little bit of a complicated, and it's hard. Zach Reaches isn't probably the cheapest. Maybe we can find somebody that would come in lower than that. No, we really don't know. So until we do know that, then we can kind of sort this out. Get the money where it needs to be. Yeah. There's always, it's going to take some engineering expertise, I expect, which could add to the cost. Okay. Anything else pop up? Stands out to you? Liability insurance, that's another biggie. And we have no idea. And there again, that's a subject a little bit, it's my button. And as I wanted to get quotes on liability insurance and wasn't able to do so, and I still don't understand. I know there's a lot of logistics involved, but why we can't bid out liability insurance, we bid out everything else. But we wanted to make sure it was covered, so we put the million in above the last year was 633,000, and that's probably excessive, but. This liability thing it's like health insurance. It's going out the window. It's crazy. So just want to make sure it was covered. Just the 633 is what came back, is what we're paying 2024. You don't have it? No. Yeah.
Can I jump in? Sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So the 2024 amount that came back for liability insurance was an actual 22% increase from year to year. So let me think how I did this. So I believe, so then I took what we just found out the price would be, and then I just estimated and figured a 29% increase just to be covered, because I assumed it was going to be higher than what we had this year, but I don't know. So I figured the 29% off of the most recent number we have.
And, and then I know it's beyond liability insurance, but anybody that's gotten their homeowner's insurance or their auto insurance bill lately has seen a dramatic increase. You just had another hurricane hit Texas, and there'll be a lot of payouts there, and everybody's insurance rates are going to go up again because of what they've had to pay out over these last few years. I don't know how you can control it. I mean, it is what it is, and all insurance companies are pretty much in the same boat. The only thing that's saving some of them is they're completely pulling out of California, they're pulling out of Florida so that they don't sustain those losses in the future.
When you look at the wildfires and like you say, the flood and hurricane, and of course locally, the hailstorm, we had baseball-sized hailstones, and that hit hundreds of houses.
Yep.
We're not talking about a few houses that come through Kendallville, Ashley, right up across us. And, you know, it wasn't unusual to see $100,000, $150,000.
My son's getting his house
losses.
redone, and he's got his 2 vehicles redone, and all from hail.
When you got one house, for example, it got hit on one side, but the siding is faded so bad, they're gonna have to do the roof on all 4 sides of the house because the siding won't match up anymore. They're gonna do the whole exterior plus the windows. And that's probably a $200,000 claim. So anyway, yeah, it's just going crazy, and the inflation and the loss rate is excessive, but there's nothing to do about it at this point, except try to keep up.
Question, move down. On Northeast Indiana, mental health, I see that was a 4%. I thought they set their own rate, or they go off.
Not in yet.
Oh, so you're just raising it for?
I just did an estimate
Okay.
with the growth factor, but we don't have that number yet.
And the Northeast Center doesn't set the rate, the state sets the
That's
rate.
right, okay. I see that. I thought that was kind of strange.
But
Yeah, I
we
just didn't
do
have it.
have now better representation on that board than we've ever had in the past. We have 3 people that are very involved there.
Any other questions? Susan, I'm a little, I kind of forget. On the building repair and maintenance, we went from 45,000 up to 200,000. Do you remember why?
On courthouse?
Yes.
Yes. That is one I have 320,000 still in cum cap. I also put 200,000 in general so that the council can choose which fund that they want to pay it from, because the cum cap fund is getting low. So we may need to fund part of those repair and maintenance fees out of general and part of it out of cum cap. So it's in both funds, so the council has the ability to choose.
Does anybody else have any questions for Bill or comments?
No,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say no questions for Bill, but just as I mentioned this morning when we were looking at the court budgets, the state has also given us the ability to put a local option income tax in to pay for EMS, which the commissioners are currently taking out of their lighted money. But if you did it, it would add to that 2.5% limit. It's just another option that if general fund runs low, we have some other way that we can pay for this. If their economic development funds run low, we get another way, but it's just an option that we don't have to take, but it's there now, so.
What is our EMS cost? I don't see it on here.
250,000 a year, which is a bargain in today's world.
I was gonna say, I thought that was gonna need renegotiated or something.
Yeah, it's coming up, what, another year?
Yeah, 24 is year 4, so 25 will
Page
be.
3, Bill.
Yeah, so we're going to see a pretty
Halfway down.
substantial increase
Okay, I got
in
it.
that rate.
31052.
For 2025.
Yeah.
5 years ago, we wanted $400,000 for EMS. So yes, they got a bargain.
Yeah, we're going to,
Got a bargain. Yeah.
so they're going to be wanting to collect the difference at some point. So, yeah, we're expecting, I don't even want to take a guess, but it could be quite a bit.
Well, and I know that you and the other 2 commissioners are working on the EMS questionnaire that the state sent out that has to be sent back, because that will, EMS coverage for Indiana and how it's managed is going to be a big topic in the legislature this coming year. Because there are many counties that are just in the same boat that we're in. You don't have EMS of your own anymore, you're paying somebody else for it. You may be getting good service, you may not be. So they're gonna be looking at what changes need to be made from the state level to help us. Now, same thing as always. When the state comes with their handout saying, what can I do to help you? God knows where that's going to go. So just something to need to watch out for.
Anything else? Any other comments?
Yeah, I've got a line through that also.
That is just because we have no idea. It's just for the commissioners to purchase whatever they want to do.
That's our
It's
piggy-
all their money.
That's our piggy
Well, it
bank.
is.
That their slush fund?
It's all their money.
There you go.
But if we don't appropriate, they have a lot of money in their lighted, but if we don't appropriate, then you can't spend it without doing an additional appropriation. So in their administrative funds, then we put it in there. I mean, they have control over all of it, but we put it in there, and if it's needed, if something crazy comes up that the other funds can't fund, then we would have the ability to transfer and not pay for an additional appropriation.
Yeah, we get oddball expenses sometimes, and there's no category really for it.
Yeah.
That's what we go to, number 24, administrative funds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being in line at anything, any grant that came along, that would be
Yeah, right.
$1 million grant, we had to have.
Come out of that, absolutely. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Appreciate your input.
Thank you.
Lita Hollinger in the Recorder's Office.
That email that I sent to Brandy.
Okay.
Close.
Okay.
Now our employees will see where she's at.
Two of the funds, which would be the 1154 and the 1160, those are governed. I can only use those for certain things. I did keep 1160 the same, but I did add 5,000 to each of the ones in 1154. I'm not sure, my main vendor is Fiddler. I'm not sure in 25 if it'll go up. I've been given a hint that it might. And what I do is I split their bill, and what you've seen, you wonder why I got two amounts coming out of two different funds. I split that between those two, so neither one of them get high. So that's those. 1217, I put in for 65. Starting in 25, I'll be having to get more credit hours in because I'm starting over.
Let me touch base on that real quick. So 1217, that is the county elected officials training fund, and there's only certain departments that can use it. So generally, I look at what we have balance-wise, what possibly could be used, and then divide it among the 5 or 6 departments that can use it. So she said that she asked for 6,500, which she did, but I had bumped it down to 6,000 for everybody, and I believe I did the same with Sandy, because we all need to be able to use it. And then, I didn't look, but she might have travel. Did you put travel in your other budget? So we can add some in our general fund if we need to. Sandy has hers there. But with the balance in that fund, 6,000 per department is what I felt could be allocated.
Who can use it?
It is recorder, treasurer, auditor, sheriff, no, not sheriff, surveyor, council, and remember, I think so.
I think it's a clerk also.
Yeah. Clerk, auditor, recorder, surveyor, treasurer, and council.
And that money gets added in, that's not tax dollars, that all gets added in through the recorder's office. by what documents they're recording.
I'll record your grocery list if that'll help. Okay, on to 1189, which is the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund. I did do 25,000. Now, that's under the 50000 fund. The 10750, I didn't budget anything. Don has retired. I have no intention of refilling his position because he was only there for one purpose, and that purpose has been completed. So I did not appropriate anything out of perpetuation for that.
And per statute, she doesn't actually have to appropriate any
right.
of that. We only had her do it with the payroll, so that it didn't appear that everything was going negative.
Right. So I won't be needing that as far as payroll goes, because I will not have a part-time doing that. Okay, then that goes to the general fund. I did put in 6% and not the 4%. It's an investment in good employees, and I will stack mine against anybody in the county. I have one awesome team, and they've had offers. And I don't know if it's just because they like me or they don't want to leave, but you got, to me, you have to invest in good people if you've got them. Or we've heard this in all different departments. We're going to lose them. We're going to lose them because there are so many other job opportunities out there. And with insurance going up, so that's why I put it in that way. The 22730, I left that at 2,500. There are some things that perpetuation will not allow me to pay for. So, for instance, a new chair mat, for instance, under a chair, that does not have anything to do with the keeping of the records. A chair to sit in, it does, but not the chair mat for it to sit on. So we've had it like that for a while. Most of the time I don't use it much at all, but it's there in case I need it. In the 33220, I did up that just because postage has went up, and not only that, I have to send notices and do things for the retention of records on the redaction or the destroying of records. So that's why I upped that.
You do have a little travel in there, but you had taken it down.
Oh, that 936? Okay.
Did you want a different?
It was at 25 though, right?
Right.
Yeah, let's just leave it at, if we can just leave it at 25. I didn't know that I even touched that one.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Basically, that's it. 5-year plan, the only thing that would be paid out of the counties, whether it be fume cap, light it, whatever, would the back bathroom and the back room where the old jail cell is hasn't been touched. I hate to guess how long. My liaison got to witness that.
Busted his head in there.
Well, it's for short people only, Rick. So I'm not saying it has to be done. I've put it in every letter that I've done. I'll probably really get numbers and stuff for it for 2026, not 20, but I just want to keep it up there. But computers and all that does come out of my perpetuation fund. That does not come out of county general. And that's where my office is a little unique in far as budgeting. Because most everything from my office except postage and salaries comes out of county general.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Lita?
I do, just quickly on the bathroom situation, I did look at that. Is there monies that in the courthouse maintenance repair funds that cover that, or you're responsible for it?
I shouldn't be responsible for it, no, because I can't
Well,
pay for
we
any of
heard
that.
today about hot water heaters that don't work or
Yeah.
those types of things. And
So we're back to the same problem of they don't know where to go. So everybody says it's a maintenance thing, which it is. But if we don't have a process in place, then there's not going to be quotes. Because I was talking to Lita about that. Like we got all the quotes for what was done in our office, which I preferred to because I knew what I wanted done where. And Lita had done the quotes for her office remodel because she knew what she wanted. So it's kind of up in the air. Now, if she gets the quotes because she wants it to be done a certain way, it won't necessarily come from recorder budget. It would be budgeted under the courthouse because it would be a repair or a maintenance to the courthouse facilities. So that's the problem with a lot because they want this, but then they might say that they want it to maintenance, but maintenance might not know that they're wanting it like right this minute or in 2 years or 5 years and in order to plan with that, then we have to have the numbers to be able to do that. So that's kind of where a plan.
Hey, our bathroom needs painted. Is that not just a simple maintenance? Cleaning this room?
Well, that's what we've been trying to get done with the 5-year plan. And we don't have a schedule like that.
Yeah, there's
It's
not
behind-
a, there's
it's
not
be-
a regular schedule going on so, for instance, Allen County, every 4 years, that office gets looked at because most of the time, every 4 years, you're going to have someone new in there or someone's going to do their second term. So every 4 years, they're on that schedule. So whatever needs done in that office is going to be done every 4 years. And the elected officials, department heads, they know that their turn will come up in 4 years. So every 4 years, they're on a maintenance schedule. DeKalb doesn't have that, per se.
And it never has had, so it's not anything that's particular to this group or this group of commissioners. It's never had some regular schedule of updating. It's kind of like, they finally fixed that with the computer upgrades. Jack has a regular schedule to upgrade the computers. Now we need something for the courthouse.
So unless a department head or elected official squeaks loud enough, it just goes.
Is that a conversation that we need to continue, or the commissioners, or jointly, or?
Well, I think it'd be the commissioner's issue because they're in charge of the courthouse, and then to bring us a plan, whether that be we appropriate $50,000 a year
Right.
to do some type of upgrade and let them do it. I mean, but unless they ask for it, we're not going to give it.
Right.
So,
I mean, we do appropriate, I think this year we appropriated like $320,000 in building repair and maintenance for things that come up. If it's something huge that wouldn't be part of that, it wouldn't have been budgeted. But the other thing is we used to only have Clint or Larry, where now that we have the 3, then maybe something can be started with a protocol of us going to Larry and expressing what we're thinking and.
Absolutely. I mean, I just don't think that it makes sense to ask our recorder to be in charge of the maintenance of her, part of the building, or the clerk to be responsible for theirs. We have maintenance people, and that should fall under their umbrella. And then we're also not looking at multiple budget numbers from multiple departments.
and the commissioners have addressed that because this same issue existed in Sunny Meadows and in the Central Communications, and they've hired somebody that maintains those buildings.
Right,
So, yeah, they've started to address it, so.
yeah.
But unfortunately, in county government, we have to do a lot that you wouldn't think we would need to do.
I agree. I agree. And understand, but yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Lita?
The only thing I can say, I will probably be having one retire next spring, so I will be looking to fill that spot.
Next
Hopefully.
spring, so you need to be,
Possibly.
you need to be
Possibly.
putting in a replacement employee
Possibly.
to plan for it?
Yes. But, no, because I'll have one retiring and one can take that place.
You won't need any overlap?
Shouldn't.
Pay out of PTO.
Okay.
There won't be much PTO. I think she'll use it up. So, if I do need to overlap a little bit, then I can take that out perpetuation if I need to. But I don't know that I will need to, because, so, we'll just see.
Okay. I was just
That's why I have the 2 part-time
avoiding
floaters.
an additional appropriation if we,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Lita, for your
Okay.
presentation. And before you leave, on behalf of the council, would just like to thank you and recognize you for thinking and remembering the residents at Sunny Meadows over the years that have passed away and been forgotten. And I think that's very commendable, and it's just very responsible that we don't let that slip away. So thank you very much.
Hey, Lita, and don't forget your mint for being on time. You did an outstanding job. We're trying to train them like puppies.
He's gonna give all that candy.
You do good, you get candy.
Did you give Bill any of that?
No, well, I didn't, no. Where'd the bucket go? Here, I'll steal Amy's. Amy wanted to give you that.
There you go.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
I forgot.
I have that candy back.
An issue I wanted There's an expression for that. No, what I totally forgot, and Nancy reminded me, and that is Ben Parker. And I want to suggest a striped for Ben. We have done stripeds before. When the duties became above and beyond the job description, I'll put it that way. Ben has spent numerous hours back and forth to that highway project. Watching, we've had a lot of glitches, a lot of problems out there. He's caught a lot of mistakes. And I can't say he saved us any money because it was a not to exceed bid. But coming on down the road, I know it's going to save us money in elements of that project. He hadn't caught, they would have caught us somewhere down the road. We'd have to pay for, extra maintenance, upkeep, and so forth. So I want to just suggest a striped for Ben. I don't have an exact figure in mind. Todd and I talked a little bit about it. I wasn't able to get a hold of Mike. Todd thought maybe 2,000. I thought maybe a little more than that, but it's kind of what you guys might think if you want to do that. But I know he spent a lot of time, a lot of headaches, a lot of gray hairs getting this thing, and it's still not quite done. We're 8 months past due completion date, and so it's just added to his burden trying to get county highway projects done that's on the books to be done, on his plan. And still trying to keep an eye on that up there, and he's done a really good job of monitoring that and making sure it's done right. He's telling them, and I have too, that this is a project taxpayers pay for it. Just because it's a highway garage doesn't mean that it can be second rate. We're not going to stand for inadequate quality, and we haven't, and they've corrected a lot of issues. So anyway. That's my spiel for Ben.
Appreciate it, and I think we'll duly note it. I guess I have a question. Does this revert back to HR here? Because...
So no, that would end up being an ordinance, or an ordinance or resolution that would be, that Don Stuckey would do, and then we would bring it to the council for your approval.
Okay, I think I think we'll need to discuss this.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you.
And if you have a better number, come back with us with a better number. If you think it's 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, come back with a number you think it's fair, that you can justify that he deserves that.
I was actually a little higher than that, but Todd was a little lower.
But yeah, once you get time, discuss.
Because I know how much time and aggravation this has been to Ben.
So what's
really
the
do.
middle? If you were high and Todd was low, what's the middle?
3,500.
2,500?
35.
3,500, okay.
Let's just put that down as a starting point. We can discuss it and we'll
okay.
go from there.
And I want to remind the council too that I've lost track of the number of meetings, but it's somewhere exceeding 100 meetings, 2 hours apiece. Ben and I have spent on this project. And it's been a tussle, but it's going to get done. It's going to be a great facility when it's done, and it's something the county can really be proud of. So appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, at this time, Susan Sleeper.
Okay, do you want me to go, or do you want to go with those that are here and I fill in another time when we have openings? Because I think,
There first. She's got to stay. They
Yeah,
don't.
that's
so.
fine. Okay, let's see.
Jeez.
Who have we got?
we had, Angela was,
She's here.
yeah, Angela's here. so
Angela,
maybe-
would you like to go next?
Now, Bill, they're not going to be in
I
order.
know, we're gonna mess you up.
Now, who's this?
This is Angela.
Sunny
So this is Sunny Meadows.
Oh, this is the lady that we have to watch, huh?
Good afternoon, everyone.
You're not, this time of the afternoon, you're not getting any breaks, just know that. This time of the afternoon, there's no breaks, so.
Remember, we're your friend.
Or your friend.
And we got your enforcer sitting back here, so.
Lita and I will.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
This is the first time I've done this, so I'm walking in blind here. Everything is pretty normal as far as the adjustments. There are a few areas that I did increase as far as right off top is the contractual. My number is off. I did the computing wrong. I think another 5 on to the account 34330. I did recently, when I came in, the whole building was overrun with cockroaches, bed bugs. Starting this year, I did a preventive spraying, so every month they come in. It's $375, and then a $60 is just the monthly service. So I do need to add in that. They come.
5,000
Yes.
Which one are we under?
down at 30, contractual services 34330 at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
And that was bed bugs. I mean, they were so far out of control when she got there that it's taken a year.
Who's this?
We are 0 at this point. After the 3rd spray of my home, I was ready. Yeah, pretty tough. Anyway, I really want to thank you. Get a little emotional with Sunny Meadows.
If we need that much budgeted in there. Contractual services.
Are we adding to that?
Adding those bed bugs, if we wait, don't put that in there, and wait and let them, and then we end up spending more money trying to battle them. This contract would include preventative sprays that would keep them from coming.
And doesn't that also include your mower?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't, that should include the mowing services and do we have? Oh, that's right.
Yes.
But it was.
It was
Yeah.
included in with it, yes. Yeah.
What
Personal
about,
services will have that.
yeah, that's under Larry's side. What about the meds? Do we have any services we pay for the meds yet?
No.
Okay. So if they're,
Yeah.
oh, perfect, never
Yeah.
mind.
That's the word we like to hear.
Yeah, they deliver pre-filled packs for the meds and stuff, no charge to the residents. We just switched to pharmacies when I got there. As far as the preventive spraying, we have 2 floors each month. So each room will get sprayed 3 different times each year. So we just monthly, I just, kind of got in zones and everything. So we are bug-free the 3rd month in a row, so that's a good thing. Very good thing. Most recently, I forgot my 5-year. We have just found out today, for the 4th time since I've been there since the end of 22, my women's AC on that side, it's going to get repaired again tomorrow, but it will need repaired. I was only able to get one quote, and it was from Auburn Heating, and they gave me at $7,000 for that, so that is not in with this budget. I just found that out today, and we do have, in our chapel, our kitchen, and our dining area, they do not have any kind of AC unit or anything that cools. We did in the kitchen up until last year. There was a condenser in the ceiling, and that is non-repairable. So I did have Auburn Heating come in, and apologize again, only one quote. For all 3 rooms, they did end up giving a $22,000 quote for that. But my main concern right now is the kitchen. I just got a new reach-in cooler earlier this year, and it is actually down. I think the heat from it is overworking my new cooler and freezer and refrigerator. So that is the biggest thing. If we get it approved, it would at least be the kitchen, as soon as we can. The chapel, we can get a couple of bigger ACs in the windows. That would probably cool that. Dining room right now is kind of hard to tell just because I do have one side of my AC is down and it's been down a lot. So it's hard to tell if it's just a lot more warmth just because of that side's down or not. But the kitchen is definitely my main priority, especially for my reach-in and my staff, of course. So there.
What did you say that quote was?
22,000, but that was for all of the areas. They put in. They said it was going to be like a mini split would be mounted on each of the walls in the area. They did put in that it would be, the split part would be the heat and AC. So I don't need heat and no additional heat. We do have, our registers. So I'm not for sure if, I don't know a whole lot about AC and stuff. So I'm sure that there could be a better alternative.
So we might want to take that, if you can get me that quote, we might want to take that and discuss it. I can discuss it with the commissioners because there's current ARPA monies that are still slated for Sunny Meadows that can be used. Mike Watson was aware of that and had suggested that when I was trying to figure out what to guess to budget for QCAP. So the other two, we just need to talk to the other 2 commissioners and whatnot. So
Yeah, and Bill, I wish he was still here because he told me that earlier today that he had approved 12,000 to fix part of that air conditioning. So I got something we need to get back to them. I don't think that's a next year budget thing. I think that's something they're going to do right now.
yes.
Same thing with the AC and the women's side. You have money in 2 different accounts.
Yeah.
Plenty of money to cover that 7,000.
Right.
You just need to get with.
Okay, but
How are they doing that?
yes. But we need to discuss it with the commissioners, and we really need to be using the ARPA monies first because those monies have to be spent and allocated, and it's a nightmare. So they have to be specified for what they're going to be used for specifically by the end of this year, and then completely spent out by the end of 2026. So we need to be using those, and these would be things that would be a good thing to get done, and the money's there. So get me those quotes. I don't know a lot about AC either, but the 3 of them, I don't know.
Angela, for your women's unit, I
Yes.
said $7,000 for the repair.
To replace it.
That is replaced.
Yeah, I've
good.
had,
Good.
this will be the 4th repair since I've been there.
I misunderstood you. I was going to say if we're going to spend $7,000.
That was probably me mumbling,
We ought to look
so.
at replacing it, but I misheard you. That's my fault.
There's different.
No. Separate. And the heat out there is no problem. I mean, I know we are a big drafty building, but we, plastic, doors that are not used, windows, that's definitely not needed. I don't I'm not for sure if, like I said, AC, the HVAC, I have no idea. I don't know if we can have an alternative just to get some air in there. We have 2 window airs in right now, and it just doesn't even touch it. So.
In that old building, runs a big wall units. You could put big BTU units in. Those are pretty big. I don't think there's any, we're gonna have to rewire.
Is there ductwork in place to handle the, they have to be window units?
Yeah, I was telling him, I mean, we took out like the deep fryer. I mean, I cut all that out anyway, but we have a side of our kitchen that shorts out every once in a while. I know that we would have to get an electrician in there and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
What that number is, but I'm telling you,
We get you a number. I mean, not when I say we, not me, but I've got a guy.
Got a guy.
Okay.
but that's not necessarily something that has to be done next year, but on that list for 5 years. The other thing is the van. Working now, but it's older van.
Oh, yes, the 15 passenger, yeah. In my gutters, we do have one of, and again, the long metal pipe that needs to come from the roof down. That's getting, I have to get something replaced on that because that water directly goes right into the basement.
So it's just not shooting out at the end?
No, the whole, it just recently just came all the way off.
Oh, so your down's off.
Yes,
There you go.
yes.
It's like that right now.
Metal,
That needs to be done, yeah.
metal that it attaches to.
Is deteriorated. Right, the gutter
And
itself.
I mean, it's and that's, with Rick, it's kind of, up in the air, putting a brand new piece on something that's already rusted up. Wouldn't work.
You're getting water in the basement. If you're getting water in the basement, that should be, and we got ARCA money. How much money do we have? We should be looking at that as long as with the air conditioning. Air conditioning first. And air conditioning in that, eastbound, because if you're getting water in the basement, that's just asking for trouble 2 or 3, 5 years down the road. Those 2 things should be looked at.
But there's ARPA money, I think it's about 200,000 in there.
Yeah, it's
Tell you
it's in the commissioners grouping
Allocated
there.
towards Sunny Meadows already,
Looks like,
but it's not committed, it's spent.
100 and, well,
So
no,
what is
looks like
left?
some negatives there.
What is left? Don't look at that. What is left for Sunny Meadows is 117,763 specifically. However, when other expenditures happen that the commissioners have planned for, that's not to say that there's not also extra money someplace else, because we still have like 389,500 held back for state board audits and things like that. So that's not saying that the commissioners can't do something else, but I believe that all of these need to be brought to the commissioners' attention with somewhat of an idea of money that they're talking, so that if they can put the ARPA money towards that need and then maybe take something else within the ARPA that may just get paid from a different fund, then things can get switched around.
As far as the 15 passenger, I'm going off. The reason why that's such a big plus, before they were only using it for their outings. Since I've got there, we have 12, I think, of the residents that are actually going out and working over at Alliance, and we are definitely using it twice a day, every day. We're definitely using it a lot. No. No, definitely not.
How many residents do you have out there now?
I have 22.
I want to fish for other people that have done a great job. But Angela, while she's been really buried with low staffing and housekeeping, and lost the matron, which was redoing that job. In April, she's been doing about 3 different full-time jobs out there trying to saying, keep the place clean, keep the clients happy, keep the medication, and also have good food and good programming and good involved. Now, it's probably, I've been involved in City Village, it's probably the best quality of life I've had since I've been. Other back office things that we got to fill and get this person hired for to get that. Many hours and you get overtime is your department head salary. Stipends for other people. I honestly think she deserves it. A little earlier when she was without. We talk about tomorrow or another day. Clients aren't suffering. Back office stuff is suffering, but being more active.
And we, on a side note, positive, great note, thank you to everyone that has helped. Lita has been amazing. She's come out. We are working, getting everything. The rent was just so scattered. I couldn't even tell you how the last director figured all that out. Talking with multiple departments, if everything goes well by 25, we should actually double the rent that is coming in. With the nursing homes and state guidelines, we should be actually doing everything but $52. And it is all the new residents that I have brought in are definitely doing, we're doing the right way, but there's many that are barely paying, somewhat paying. Do you remember it was $40 and some change? Yeah, that's supposed to be per day or from income. And I have, that's another thing. As far as the state, there's an RCAP program. And, say one of my residents only brings in $800 in disability. I have gotten involved with RCAP and have probably 10 people on RCAP right now. And they supplement and to bring it up to that $40 a day for them. So anyone that's under that $12.60 is what a 30-day is, we definitely get that supplement from them.
Any other questions for Angela? Thank you, Angela. Appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Very good. Did a great job. Okay, next, Rhonda, are you ready? All righty.
The Veterans Office.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
And how refreshing to come up and be able to talk with you after Angela went on. Seeing somebody that's that transparent, that very dedicated, kindness, humble. So.
Thank you.
Big shoes to fill right now, coming up behind her. So. This year is a little different. I'm used to seeing the screen up on the wall with each line item. So this is a little different. So.
They have all of your stuff in front of them.
Okay, and I do
on
too.
paper.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All righty, so I am requesting a 4% wage increase for myself and my deputy VSO based off the county's recommendation, mindful of the fact that it is a privilege to be a public servant. Okay. So that's the amount that I have budgeted for myself and for my deputy. I have a part-time position here, and an administration office manager, per the commissioner's recommendation to continue to keep that line item in place. My proposed hourly wage for that office manager position was same as last year, $20.62 an hour. If I ever decide that I feel that we're growing and that we need to have an office manager, then right now we don't need that, but that line item is still kept in place. Same with that part-time position. I just kept that amount the exact same. Any questions on salary or payroll?
Move from Pat A to Pat B, correct? I mean,
Okay.
you moved your job description.
So now here's the whole thing, and I've been working on this. Sorry, Rhonda.
That's okay.
I've been working on this since Nellie left. So it is very skewed because, so Rhonda's always been in Pat B. She's been in Pat B. The very first WIS study, Nellie was in Pat B in 2019. In 2020, Nellie's got changed to Pat C. Everything went along fine until last year because Pat B got increased because of the environmental health specialist. So now Pat B people are making way more than Pat C people. So this one, Rhonda's, and this is something that we'll take care of before the end of the year. Rhonda's amount for her Pat B just didn't get increased in the final budget numbers. So I'll have to probably do an additional appropriation for that to make up the difference. So she's technically doing a 4% increase from what she's being paid, which is the $64,974. But that's not reflected in the 2024 adopted budget because it was not put in as the final number.
Which is what I wanted to point out. This, our paper says 31%.
Correct, and it's not.
4%. It truly is a 4%.
Correct.
Off of what she's currently being paid.
Correct.
Pays more than one line, or the paragraph first column says.
Correct. 64,974. Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Correct. And for her, she started out at $25 an hour as my deputy. 4% would take her up to $26 then for next year hourly if the council agrees.
Oh, is that right? It's not on mine.
Say that one more time.
$5 an hour. Maybe that was just the top.
That is correct.
Yeah. That would be, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Office supplies, this amount budgeted for office supplies does not need to be increased or decreased. We'll just keep it exactly the same. Memorial Day flags. Our flags are our department's largest budgeted item next to wages. This year, the county council allowed me a non-approval transfer due to rising costs. My flags went up 42% this year. In 2024, I ordered 5,520 Memorial Day flags, 5,520 Memorial Day flags. They were $1.14 each, along with shipping and freight $275. Collins Flags is our distributor. They are based out of Marion, Indiana. Due to the large increase, next year we are changing flag distributors to U.S. Flag Maker based out of Marietta, Georgia. I got a quote from them, and they came in a little bit lower, 96 cents per flag versus me paying $1.14 per flag. And so we are looking to move. I hate to move because I like to keep it local in Indiana, but because of rising costs, that 42% bump up, I really have no choice. So, keeping in mind our department provides flags for DeKalb County buildings, such as the courthouse, the annex. I've provided flags for the highway department, 911, and 7th Street building. So if somebody needs a flag, they know to get hold of me and I'll order a flag. I got the money in the budget. Furthermore, being mindful of the fact that Memorial Day flag quantity increases each year based off the number of DeKalb County veterans that pass away. We also purchase small little flags like you have for our fair and parades. So we keep those in stock. So the Memorial Day flags, that's my biggest thorn in the side. I have no way of trying to determine how much of an increase. And I could have never dreamed that it would have gone up that 42% from the previous year. So that is one that I am always working on. This year when I got the price quote, I emailed my Collins Flag distributor that we've been with for 15 years. And I said, look, I've got a quote in much lower than you. Can you credit me? And they said no. And then they slept on it and they called me the next day and they said, you know what? You've been a long time customer. We want to do the right thing. And they gave me a credit. Lo and behold, the quote I received is exactly where Collins Flags gets their flags from, Marietta, Georgia, U.S. Flag Maker. So, isn't that ironic how God works? God works wonders sometimes. And so I got a credit, ordered some more flags, and got us stocked up. So, yeah, it works. Any question about flags? Okay. Postage. The amount budgeted for postage does not need to be increased or decreased for this year. The majority of our VA claims submissions are done electronically. Recruitment advertisement. For our recruitment advertising line item, I am requesting a 4% increase. Items that are needed for our department consist of the ink pens with our contact information. We pass those out at the fair. In addition to brochures, sometimes we like to create a brochure to take with us to some of our outreach. And so it just basically says on that brochure the types of services we provide in our office, such as veteran needs to know information about GI education bill, get a hold of the Veterans Office. Claims, disability compensation, application to get into VA health care at the hospital down on Lake Avenue. Those documents can be taken care of through us and we can submit those. Easy to do. Okay. On the recruitment advertising, I just would like to add a side note here that for the pens, in 2022, I always order 100 pens every year. In 2022, 100 pens cost me $138.74. In 2023, those 100 pens jumped up to $173 and some change. Thank goodness this year in 2024, my 100 pens were $177. So that was only a $5 increase. So there for a little while with our supply chain, things took an incredible jump up in cost. And with our pens, I always get coupons. So I save a little bit of money there too. Next, software maintenance. VetraSpec Tyler Technology is the name of our VSO software company. Currently, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs pays for my privileges as a user, which is $449. At any point in time, IDVA, Indiana VA, can do away with that benefit if their budget changes and they are unable to provide that service to all county VSOs in Indiana. I reached out to my district VSO prior to turning in my budget to get a little bit of a heads up. What are they projecting for an increase for software? They have not raised our cost for usage for our software system since I've been there, and this is my 4th year. We just got confirmation on June the 4th that next year the cost will no longer be $449, it'll be $504. Quite a bit of a jump. I'm hopeful that IDVA will pay my user fee, but I do budget for 3 people to have access to our software system. Myself, just in case IDVA is unable to pay mine, my deputy VSO, and then I keep 1 more in case I decide to hire an office administrator. So that's what we've done in years past. What happens in years past, such as this year, I got IDVA to continue to pay for mine, $449 for this year. I went ahead and paid the deputy hers. I paid hers off. That money that's left in that line item will go right back into county general fund at the end of the year. Okay. I did request a 4% increase, but that's not going to be enough, I don't think. But I think where I'm going to be absolutely fine is I'm not hiring an administrating office person. I've got my deputy doing 2 jobs at the same time. She's the office manager and my deputy VSO. So even though I asked for a 4% increase, it's going to go over that $504 for next year. I'll be just fine because IDVA is paying mine, and I just need to pay for 1 more user then. Any questions on that? Next, travel, training, and education. The amount budgeted for travel, training, and education does not need to be increased or decreased for next year. Historical markers. How many of you been out to the cemeteries and seen these markers that our county provides the next 10? It's a wonderful way to give a gift back to the next of kin for that veteran's dedication and service. Okay? Our historical markers are impressive, each costing $42.96 and approximately $1.50 for shipping. We get them from Ohio. Many other counties choose to use cheap plastic markers that fade, break, or look cheap. DeKalb County has never done this. We issue 100% bronze markers. This legacy allows our next of kin in DeKalb County a remembrance of this type. It is a tradition we've had in place for many, many years. Due to price increases, I am requesting a 5% increase. Last year, the amount budgeted allowed me to purchase 35 markers. That includes the rod and the shipping. Okay?
And is that permanently placed, or does the family take it with them? Because I would wonder if it's not permanently placed, how many do you lose every year?
These get stolen. So what we tell the family when I give this out, I tell the family, if you're taking this out to the cemetery, which that's what it's designed for, then go ahead when they build it, put some epoxy in there, but also put some epoxy around the threads here because that will leave the rod through markers. So, yeah, these unfortunately get stolen now. I was gifted from another county gently used markers. They're not great looking. But if a veteran comes in and says, mine got stolen, I don't have the money to replace that, but I've got a gently used one that they can have. So, yeah. But yeah, they do get stolen, and that's unfortunate. Okay. Promotions. Items that fall under promotions are leasing spaces for the merchant tent at the DeKalb County Fair. Last year, our charge was $325. This year, our cost increased $10, $335. Next year, Dave Bunn, the coordinator, says to me, another $10 hike. That'll be $345 to rent a table during the fair. So that way we have a presence to let our county veterans and families know you have a veteran service officer right here in your county. And if you need help or you have questions, we are available. And I feel like our presence at the fair, they kind of get to know us. They get to know we're approachable. We care about our veterans, and we're here to help. So, need an increase then for that. And I think it was 1.17 to rent the fair table. And furniture and fixtures. This one's my most exciting one to talk about. So, amount budgeted for furniture and fixtures is $500. With 2025 budget, I did get a estimate to get the office painted. I think we got a new roof this year. So I've been saying a couple of things to the commissioners. Boy, I'd really like to get the office painted. And I just talk about it. And they came back and said, why don't you get an estimate? So I got an estimate. That estimate came in at $1,760 to paint the entire office. I minused my $500, which I had budgeted then for furniture and fixtures. So I need $1,260 extra to get the office painted, please. Doug Weimer does interior wall painting for other offices, I believe, like
Derek
Weimer. So very well experienced, and that's who we typically use, I think. This was Larry's recommendation, Larry Lane's recommendation. So I know that's asking for a lot, but, you know, we need a nice office for veterans to come into. And it's been about 13 years since the walls have been painted, so it's time. And last, equipment. The amount budgeted for equipment does not need to be increased or decreased.
You actually owned that building that long? 13 years? Seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure have.
In closing, I would like to express my thanks to my good friend and liaison, Amy Prosser, for helping me with my budget again this year. Thank you. Always enjoy that. Any questions?
Any questions or comments for Rhonda? Just like to, one comment. I hear really good things from veterans that have worked with you in your office. I hear that a lot.
Oh, good.
So,
I'm thankful.
Yeah,
You know,
we're thankful to have you here. Thank you.
you're welcome.
We do still have the reputation of having the best of all the counties.
The what now?
We have the reputation of having the best veteran
We do.
service department.
We absolutely
from
do.
all the surrounding counties.
And not just helping our county veterans, but
helping-
others that
helping
need
others.
help in other areas. And that's tremendous. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. People helping people.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And then after that, Rick needs a bathroom break before.
Yeah. Do we want to do it now? Take a break now?
You mean that yours should go quicker? We
You want to
don't
take a
do it.
break now or?
No, I asked him to put it
Okay,
all on here. but
Patrick.
I don't see it.
Good afternoon. How is everyone?
Good afternoon. Thank you. We're all doing great.
Good. Not a lot of changes in my budget from last
Okay,
year, just a few things that are involving the new purchase of the new van and the fuel proving system. I had to bump up a few things, but office supplies, kept it flat at $50 again, just kind of as a parachute in case I would need anything. I'm pretty good at scrounging things up here and there. And I get all my ink from the IT budget, so that's pretty much covered. Operating supplies, I did bump that up because of the unknown with this new proving system, what I'm going to need as far as little increments. The machine should last 50 plus years, but there's going to be little parts that need replaced, and I just don't know what they are yet until we put the thing into service. Safety supplies, again, $50, just in case I would need something that I don't normally have, but I normally don't use that budget at all. Uniforms, never have to use those. Petroleum products and supplies. 2 years ago, I had it at $1,700. I never used it. I dropped it to $1,500. With the new van, it gets much better gas mileage than the big Chevy pickup truck. Unless gas does anything stupid, I think $1,300 is a good figure to put in there for next year. Again, with repairs, maintenance, and supplies, that kind of falls under the new fuel prover and truck. I bumped that from 200 to 400 just because of the unknown. Printing services. I don't know if you've seen my stickers out there in the field, but we used to do an annual sticker where every year we had to pay a plate charge and put a date on it. I switched it to a 6-year across the top, 12 months, 6 months on each side, and I punched them out. This way we're not paying a plating charge every year. Well, I'm running out of the stickers themselves, but the plating should still be good for a couple more years. I think it's through 2027. So I just need to get the labels reprinted, which is the cheapest part of getting labels. Paying the plating charge is usually the highest. So I had to throw that in there this year because I am going to run out. Training and education, the T&E is $650 again. That covers our association fees with NWMA, National Weights and Measures Association, which is federal overlord for weights and measures. It pays for our association with the Indiana Weights and Measures group, and once a year conference held somewhere in the state by the Indiana people, the state people, to bring us up to date on all the things that have transpired over the year that we may have missed. Vehicle license fee, I think that was just a license fee, our trailer at one point, and we don't have to do that again. And other garage and motor, kept that the same, being that the van that we got is 41,000 miles on it. I doubt the brakes have been changed. I know the battery hasn't been changed. The thing will be 4 or 5 years old next year. It's just a safety net because those things are going to start to wear out. That's it. Pretty simple budget. Any questions?
Any questions?
Prover's on, hopefully on its way. It's supposed to be done any day now. We're having it delivered to the highway department. I think Bill and I and the new maintenance guy will have to figure out how to put it in there because we want to vent it. I had a fireproof partition put in to separate the driver from the prover. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see when it gets here. We're kind of excited about it, and it's really going to help us step into the next generation. It'll make us be able to take on any growth that the county has as far as gas stations. If a Myers moves in, or what's that one that has like 800 pumps, Bugsy's, or down south? Buc-ee's, yeah. But we just happen to get a Buc-ee's. You know? We'll be prepared for it, but it'll take a lot of the workman's comp items out of it. The safety items will be increased. It's just all positive benefits to it. I mean, we need to be proud that for a county our size, we have something like that.
Does anybody else have any questions for Patrick?
Measures kind of up to.
We're in the 21st century now. We're computerized.
And we're doing, we're not on paper and pen anymore.
No.
He's done a great job getting that organized.
Great.
Good.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate
With
it.
his Jim cap.
With his
Okay.
Jim cap, yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, thank you. Have a good
Great
day.
job, Patrick.
Okay, we need a break?
Yes.
Need a break? We're going to take a 10-minute break here, so let's come back at 15 after 4. Will we be able to leave our stuff in here tonight?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Move Bill around, it's gonna be trouble.
Yes. Yeah, we can leave it in here.
Okay.
I got my eye on you and you're eating all that taffy.
I'm not even down with you. I got addicted. Then I had to go to the Y, spend my money at the Y because some idiot next to me give me this fat candy and I'm getting fatter. You know, I told the lady.
We're back in session. We want to get you out of here for multiple reasons.
I got a funeral to go to and 2 church meetings tonight, so I'm waiting.
Well, I'm sure Bill has to be somewhere too.
Yeah. Well, there must be a cow somewhere
It
that
gotta
needs to
be.
be milked.
I hope my daughter gets it out before I get home.
Okay, Susan.
Okay, county general is the main concern. The rest of them, you guys can look through and let me know if you have questions. They're basically just funds that I have to administer for monies that come in, like pass-through monies, for DART or the TIF funds for redevelopment, tourism, recording fees for tax sale deeds, just things like that. So those you can look at. The general fund, the highlights there are, I increased the wages by 4%. You will see mine shows 7.5% because I have the 4% plus the 2,500 that went through House Bill 1328 that can be given to auditors.
Say can?
Shall.
Oh, shall, okay. I just want to make sure I get the right word. Can, shall?
No, it is not. It is not a shall. It is not. It is.
May.
It is an option that it can be
Well,
done.
okay, now here's my question. Who's your first deputy?
I don't have one yet.
You don't have one. So we don't have to raise someone accordingly.
Okay, so can I go through the rest and then you ask me questions?
Well,
Because I might answer I might answer what
I'll
you're
forget
asking.
my questions by the time you get through.
No, you won't. So if you go down to the 11-12 budget first deputy, the amount there is $9,717. That is the difference between what somebody would make at 80% of my pay and someone in my office that is at a COMAT C. So if I move someone in a current position that's a COMAT C into the first deputy position, then I would have their current COMAT C wage plus the 9,717 to equal the 80% of my pay that they would get.
So you would not be hiring another person, you would just be transferring or renaming that person.
Correct. Are you following me, Bill?
I just saw it.
Okay.
I'm thinking, what the hell is she at? Why don't you at 9 next year? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now line 5 here.
Okay, so 2 down from that, the replacement employee, I have in 79,682. This is, I have 2 employees that are planning to retire by the end of next year. Both positions are not easily learned. There's going to need to be quite a bit of overlap for the positions for the nature of the job. One of them is our settlement property tax administrator, and I mean, that job literally, if you had a year, you'd be good. But I have, and the other one is a transfer deputy. So I have planned in there 2 replacement employees for like part-time hours. So it's enough wage for each one to work 1,456 hours. That's how I came up with that number. I'm wanting to have at least each one have at least 6 months with the other because of the nature of the job.
And this will be considered part-time, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't have perf and insurance on it until they take over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are going away out of the rest of the list? Or there are 2 people that are in the budget here that will be 0 then? Replacing 2 that are leaving?
No, the replacement is for the overlap. So like I have the settlement property tax administrator, she's still here. Then I will bring someone in to overlap to learn her position. And then
So you're overlapping this budget year,
25.
and then they'll be gone that next year, and these people
Before the end,
ultimately be
before the end
trained.
of '25.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And they would not necessarily be hired in at the highest wage that the current retiring employee was at.
Correct. I figured it at the Comanche rate, but correct. They wouldn't be hired in at that. Then the other thing on the wages is the second one from the bottom. I have in 22,630, that is for Mike Roos. I had been funding him for a few years out of my plat book fee fund and fully. And I had let you guys know last year that that wasn't going to be able to last forever. So I have brought half of his wage back into my general fund, and then I can still do half of his wage out of plat book with some office supplies and things like that. So any questions on wages? No?
I'm so confused, I don't know what's going on.
Well, ask me.
Fine. I've got it figured out.
Okay, so. Uh-huh. It comes from the county. It's House Bill 1328, and they passed in statute that a stipend can be provided to the auditor if the council agrees to it. Auditor and clerk, I think. Yeah.
Clerk's got some.
Clerk was in that on top of her other things that she already gets. Next year?
Is it prorated? The whole 2,500. So we got an option from $10 all the way up to 2,500, right? Boy, that's gonna be hard. We could do, I would get at least 10.
Do you have it in the 25 budget?
Was midterm included or
Okay.
just presidential?
Okay. So clerks get it like every other year? Okay.
This is such an easy election this year. Boy,
He's worried about never mind, worried about getting shot.
Right.
Yeah, because I was supposed to be sitting over there in the safe zone, and I moved in the danger zone.
So
That's
if you
my
go
president.
further down, on the other service fees, you'll see I only increased that by 4%. I have listed down the Baker Tilly fees, Peterson fees, and the Portal Public Document Center. So those are the three items that have to stay there because our ordinances and minutes and stuff are currently at the SBS portal facility getting scanned. And so there will be a public portal that these will now be searchable, but for everybody. So there is a yearly fee that comes with that. So those have to stay
And that is a
there.
project that we have wanted to get accomplished since Jan was here and is finally coming to an end. Good.
So, but you will also see there that I have digitizing and codifying at 135,000. So SBS this was last year, they had provided me a whole list of how much it would cost to digitize everything. And we're talking digitizing like in the basement, like all of the prior commissioner meeting records, council meeting records, everything in my closet in here, so that everything is digitized. The big plat books, the ancient old ditch books, everything. So that amount is for absolutely everything to be digitized. Also, there will also be a fee because the entire thing needs to be done and completely recodified. Some have codification numbers, some don't. The system is broken and has been for quite some time, so there will be a fee with that. I did not increase that line item by more than 4%, because I knew that I really needed to have my replacement employees so the office goes smoothly when the other two retire. But that is something to keep in mind, that if we want to accurate and recodified, that there will be a price to that. And to actually be digitized would be amazing, but there's also a fee to that.
That would greatly benefit the county citizens. Now, if they wanted to find out what the commissioners did 2 years ago, would be very difficult to find anything or to find an ordinance. And how long has that been out there? They passed it in 1960 and nobody's ever seen it or dealt with it since. So it would be of great benefit.
And I had to go with a different company.
And historical.
Because I have my seasonal summer help, and she had started last year, and she was scanning a bunch of stuff. So we were able to provide this company with actual PDF copies of a big chunk of things, and then they came and picked up a whole truckload of some other things that we hadn't gotten scanned in yet. And the reason why we needed a company to do it is because in the process of her scanning and us trying to do it on the county website that we have, it was not able to be searchable by only like one word. Like you couldn't just type in horse and buggy and get everything. And so it just wasn't going to work. The SBS portals is used by many counties for their documents so that they are scannable or easily searchable by any word. I don't have it set up yet. I believe that if we want, I believe that we can have a way that the public, if they go on and they want to get a record, that they could pay a fee to access that record if you want to charge a fee for that. I haven't gotten that far yet on what it would cost or how much or anything. I mean, right now, literally, if somebody comes in, it's 10 cents a copy. So it's not like.
Once all this is scanned, where is it stored?
It will come back here for now, and then I have to, well, because retention is still ancient history, they have to actually be microfilmed. And until they're microfilmed, they're not considered to be in the correct format, even though I have all the digital copies. Once they're microfilmed, then I can send everything down to the state, and the state puts it in some big warehouse. I don't know how they do it, but we're still at microfilm for permanent critical records.
Technology will catch up someday.
I mean, I don't even know how they read it, but I don't know.
Probably does.
It never breaks, I don't know where we're getting.
Yeah, so they will have to come back here until we get microfilmed and figure that part out. At this point, I'm more concerned in getting them digital and searchable and figure out the rest later. So that area potentially could be increased.
I assume the basement is full of these boxes of records in your closet. So maybe the fire insurance will go down once all this stuff's gone.
Right? I know, it's crazy. Well, Holly, I can't even, they had a whole like room, two-sided walls of legal-sized boxes on both sides of stuff that they've digitized now. I mean, it was huge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy. So that's general fund. Then the only other two that I really spend like budget-wise would be the plat book fee fund, and that's the other half of Mike's wage. And I just get some office supplies. I put some money in there for furnitures and fixtures. Sometimes I was able to get a new desk and do some of the remodeling and stuff over on that side with that fund. And then if you go page 9 is the auditors and eligible deduction fund. And there's not a lot of money in that, but depending, right now I'm using it for the Beacon online deductions that I instituted last year for the maintenance of that each year so that people don't have to come in to do their deductions. They can do it online and it comes right to us.
The rainy day fund, we're
Yes.
going to put less in than we've done in '24. Are we at the maximum that we can put in? Yet, I mean, we found out last year that we could put in much more than we had been in the past.
Yes, and I had originally figured, I haven't went back to it to refigure and make sure I have all my T's crossed, because I had one person telling me I could include, I forget if it was debt service fund, or I could include something, and then I had another, they were actually both financial advisors from different companies. One saying I could, one saying I couldn't. So I haven't revisited that, but that will be done before the end of this year for anything backwards that we haven't moved over. There is $550,000 in rainy day for grant match dollars for highway. The grant match money is in a few places. I have some.
Have you doubled up anything this year as you
Yeah.
used to? Okay.
Yeah, I have grant match in, there's 350,000 in commissioners lighted, then there's some in motor vehicle restricted, and then highway also has a 1229 fund low at special distribution, plus the rainy day. We will only need 550,000 total for CCMG grant match for next year, but I've got it in multiple places here, and then we can decide in August where we want to take it from. The Lowit 1229 Special Distribution Fund, that fund kind of isn't, he hasn't really spent much out of it the last few years because they're just trying to keep it for a project that may come up that he needs to do.
And 25, 26, and 27, the last year of the bond payment for community corrections.
Are you asking me when the
Yeah,
last is?
so what do we got left? 3 years, 5 years?
Let me think about that. I don't know what I did with my stuff.
Well, I wonder, because at some point along the way, whether it be this year or next year, the jail's gonna come up again, and as little, if.
2028.
2028, so we got 3 more years. Because we want to take as much use of that local option income tax that we've got there, so that we can keep it off of property tax.
I didn't put anything in Riverboat. I'm not real sure what you guys want to do with that. Currently, there's like 439,983 in there. The last few years, we've let that sit and just keep adding to it. I asked other counties what they use theirs for to try to get some ideas. Some of them use it for their liability insurance. A lot of them use it to help sheriff pension, which we have used that for in the past. We haven't had to in the last few years. So I didn't budget any of that because I don't really think we're going to need it for next year.
If you don't need it and it can stay there, it can be used for a jail when we needed money for the jail.
Right.
400 and some.
Just under 440,000. I asked the state, and the IC code actually says that it needs to be used can be used for anything legal. And I said, well, I can argue anything is legal. And they said that they would just view it on a case-by-case basis, basically. She said, if you have something that you're wanting to know if you can spend it on, then ask, but I didn't really have an idea. I was just trying to see what else I could, so that's when I asked my other auditors.
And if,
I mean, I would assume,
Well, can we use it for our trial?
for what?
The trial?
I would say that yes, you could use it for the trial because you
Yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
something legally telling you what you need to do.
'Cause,
Kind
yeah,
of
we're
like,
gonna
I
have to
think
come up
that's
with
why,
money.
I think that's why we got to do, why we are able to do like the sheriff punch-in is because that's something legally we have to fund, is what I think they're really getting at. And legally, we have to have liability insurance, things like that.
Well, you know, we legally have to have a meeting to discuss this, so we could be funded more, too.
Right?
That's what I mean.
Right? I know.
But if we can save it, I mean, you're never gonna save the total amount for a jail. But we know the jail's coming, and the biggest share of it's gonna hit property tax. The more we've got saved, set aside, the better off we will be.
Let's have a limited, like, as we can have in rainy days. Get more pots pulled from.
I agree. If we can meet our obligations without tapping into this, let's just leave it
Yeah,
there.
keep saving it. Because you don't want to be in the position that Allen County is in, because they're still fighting about it. And now they're being sued, and the judges are setting up a 3-judge panel to find out which prisoners that are in jail are going to be cut loose.
Released.
They're talking today that it may not even be built.
Well, that's right, because the council and the commissioners are fighting over it and how it's gonna be funded. You got that whole other group that doesn't want anybody to go to jail at all. So they're fighting it because I mean, it's just nuts. It really is.
You got a group that's fighting that don't want to put anybody in jail.
They're pushing, it's all mental health related, that jail's bad for you, that we need to find other methods for correction.
Rehabilitate, don't incarcerate. Heard that state years ago.
And it's just, you know what, I have told many people this, including the 3 county commissioners in Allen County. I have lived within 3 blocks of the DeKalb County Jail for 45 years, and that jail has never bothered me one time. Never once. Even when they escaped, they didn't bother me.
I was having to get a lot farther away than 3 blocks.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, anything else, Susan?
No. So tomorrow morning, we'll start with regular council meeting, and then
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock,
Noon?
9 o'clock. Are we on at 9?
Yeah, 9
Now,
for
do we
regular.
adjourn tonight or recess?
I don't know what we've done in the past, probably
Well,
recess till
we've not
tomorrow
ever
morning.
had a regular meeting in the middle.
Okay.
Normally, we
Let's-
recess
we'll
the
adjourn.
budget.
We'll adjourn, and do we have a motion to adjourn? Second,
Got it.
we're out of here. Good job, everybody.
Computers.